The following is a presentation of the Illinois High School Association Television Network. Tuscola returns to Champaign for the second straight year. They won a state championship here a year ago. They'll try to make it 2 in a row for the Warriors. On the other side, Lena Winslow unranked in the final AP poll. They are playing in their first ever state championship football game here today. A beautiful sun-splashed day here in Champaign, Illinois, as we bring you high school football from the University of Illinois. We begin in Class 1A. Lena Winslow and Tuscola matching 12-1 records in our 1A state championship. Good morning and welcome to Memorial Stadium. I'm Lee Hall along with Jack McInerney. And Jack, it's Black Friday, a lot of sales out there, but we got a deal for you right here. 4 for the price of 1, 4 state championships. Nobody's going to beat that deal today. We begin in 1A, and we're expecting a very good ball game here this morning.
Well, we're expecting a great ball game, and we have the weather to go along with it. It's a beautiful football day down here. We have two teams that contrast in offense. One is a spread, and one is a wishbone, so we're looking at contrast there. But one thing we have in common, it's a great weekend and beautiful weather.
Absolutely. Tuscola's been here before. They are from just south of Champaign. They're led by Judd Winke, who led them to a state championship a year ago.
Well, an incredible statistic for him is 35 touchdown passes to go along with 2,700 yards passing, which is really an incredible statistic for a high school quarterback.
It is a contrast in styles. You look at Lena Winslow, the home team. They were unranked in the last poll. They bring in that old-fashioned smash-mouth option football here today, Jack.
Well, they do. They have a three-headed monster. They have 3 running backs that two have over 1,000 yards, and one is close to that with 800. But they just control the clock. They control the ball. A real conflict, if you will, of offenses, but we're really set up for a heck of a football game today.
Griffin, Dasher, and Haas. It kind of sounds like a law firm, but that is the backfield for Lena Winslow. We're back with the start of the 1A State Football Championship. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. And we are back at Memorial Stadium. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney with the call upstairs. Let's go downstairs to our sideline reporters. We begin with Aaron Bennett. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning, guys. I just spoke with Tuscola head coach Rick Reinhardt a few minutes ago. He said with the wind swirling the way it is down here, limiting the turnovers is going to be key for them today, and ball security, not giving Lena Winslow any more opportunities to have the ball than they're already going to have in this game. He also said, listen, we know how to get here. We know what it takes to win here. We just need to play Tuscola football like we have all year long. Let's toss things over to Sophia with more on Lena Winslow.
Guys, just caught up with Lena Winslow head coach Rick Arend, and he said the key for his guys today was going to be controlling the line of scrimmage defensively. Offensively, he said he's going to need 2 really good games from his workhorses. Trey Griffin, he said it's been a long road for him all year, dealing with injuries to his ankles and his knees. Says he's not 100% today, but he's ready to go. Says he's looking for good games from Griffin and Quinn Haas. Also told his guys in the locker room, you know, we've gotten better every week. There's no reason for us not to leave our best game on the field here today. Guys, back up to you.
Sophia, Aaron, thank you very much. We'll be checking in with them all throughout our 1A state championship game. We're back in Champaign right after this. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. And we are just about ready for a kickoff here in our 1A state championship game. Let's introduce you very quickly to the coaches. Rick Reinhardt in his 3rd season as head coach at Tuscola, his alma mater. There you see his record, 31-8, 33rd season overall, state champions a year ago. For Lena Winslow, it's Rick Arend. He is the head coach for the Panthers, 14 years, 108-45, made it to the semifinals before losing to Lexington last year. All right, we are set for kickoff. Tuscola will kick. Number 1, Pat Yoakum, the kicker, and back for Lena Winslow. Number 2, Casey Schrader and Tevin Sellers. You can see it's a beautiful day, a little brisk, but a nice day. A kick right down the middle of the field, fielded by Tuscola, inside, rather by Lena Winslow inside their 30, and brought across the 32-yard line. The up man picking it up there for Lena Winslow. That was Ryan Woburn. All right, Joe Edler will quarterback things. As you can see, he doesn't throw a lot, Jack. It's mostly run it up the gut option football for Lena Winslow.
Well, they're starting out in the wishbone look, but they will break that eventually.
This is Trey Griffin, who we heard about a little earlier in his injury woes. As Sophia told us about, he's battled those all season long. He gets the first carry, not unexpected there from Lena Winslow.
Well, it's one of those scenarios where you start out with your best player handling the ball in the very first play, get all the jitters out, and let's go to it. Now, when I mentioned earlier that they'll break the bone, it'll still be a power football as they have right now. They got double tight, double wing with motion.
Man in motion, the handoff is to Griffin again, and not much there for the 5'10", 190-pound senior.
Tried to run a little trap inside, showing motion, hoping that those linebackers will slide a little bit with the motion, and they really didn't. They stayed home. You've got to remember, after 13 games here, these teams are really well scouted, so the preparation has been excellent by both teams.
3rd down and 6. The handoff this time is to Haas, and he's brought down at the line of scrimmage. Great job there by the Tuscola defense. They are fired up on that sideline.
Well, that's a crucial drive right there where they stop them in the very first drive, and you can see they get to the football. That's their strength. They have good movement up front by their defensive line and their linebackers, and right there they're gang tackling.
Quinn Haas to punt for Lena Winslow. It's a low line drive shot.
Good punt.
And it's going to be down inside the 15-yard line into that wind. That's just how you want to do it, Jack.
Exactly what you want to do. Keep it low and get it down there under the wind. Put them down in poor field position. That's a good start as far as the punt. Long way to go here.
52-yard punt for Lena Winslow. So it'll be a long field for Judd Winke, the 6'3" senior. Sat out most of last year. He separated his shoulder in 2-a-days last year. Didn't play all year, and then came on in the second quarter of the state championship game and led Tuscola to the win over Lexington. Now, this is how they'll run their offense. They'll get set up, and then they'll look over and maybe change a play and see what the defense does, and then react to that.
And he'll signal his wide receivers as to what the play is. Bad snap.
Picked up, but brought down. John Turner saved a touchdown there by pouncing on the ball for Tuscola, but that long field just got longer, Jack.
Well, you know, it's very difficult. I think many times we take things for granted. You can see right here, there's pressure on the center. Jack Leonard, he's got people right on him against shotgun and spread formation. You want to put a defensive lineman on the center. You want to distract him, make it more difficult for him to block, take his mind off concentrating on that snap, and that's exactly what happened.
3 receivers right for Tuscola. Rick Reinhardt says this is a big advantage for his team to get set, see what the defense is doing, maybe tip their hand. It gives to Turner as they try and get out of the shadow of their own goal line, and they do. Good run there by Turner to bring it out near the 15-yard line.
Well, now they're going to end up with 3rd and 10. This is not how they wanted to start out, but this will be the formations you'll see the entire day. They get right into the spread formation. They look around the defense and they look to the sideline to get the call to see whether they go with that play or to change it.
3rd and 11 for Winke and Tuscola. They've got the wind at their back, but a tough start for them offensively here.
So they roll up that defensive end. Another poor snap.
Intended receiver was Yoakum. It was over his head. Dylan Hastings was there in the coverage for Lena Winslow, and Tuscola will have to punt, and that'll be good field position now for Lena Winslow.
It's interesting to see the adjustments that teams make to a spread formation. Now, when they went in motion here, you could see how they slid their outside linebacker and they slid the linebacker front towards the motion side. That helps out as far as pass coverage. And again, the entire game will be like this. It's going to be a chess match.
Yoakum to punt for Tuscola.
Crucial on the snap here.
Gets it away. Not a very good punt. It bounces about the 40. Continues to take a Tuscola roll near midfield. And that is where Lena Winslow will take over in Tuscola territory after a 36-yard punt. the 2010 IHSA Football Championships, brought to you by Country Financial. Welcome back to Champaign. Tuscola and Lena Winslow scoreless here. 8:31 to go in the first quarter. Lena Winslow in Tuscola territory. This is Dasher with his first carry of the ball game. He picks up about 5. Part of that 3-headed monster we were talking about. Here's the road to Champaign for Lena Winslow. They beat Forreston in round 1. Round 2, they knocked off Dakota, a team that beat them in week 1, 25-7. So they avenged that loss. Then they beat East Dubuque and got past Lewiston last week. Really impressive. Saw that game, Jack, and very impressive job by Lena Winslow in that ball game to beat a previously unbeaten Lewiston team. That's Trey Griffin on the carry there. He's about almost 2 yards shy of a first down to bring up 3rd down for the Panthers.
Well, what's interesting on their road to Champaign is that they stumbled in their very first ball game. They lost that one 25-7,
right,
and then they've won 12 straight. And in the 4 playoff games, they've averaged 31 points a game and only giving up 12 points a game in the 4 playoff games they've played thus far.
To give that time is to Dasher, 748 yards on the season coming into the state championship game, and he is very close to a first down, and it looks like he does indeed have first down yards. That's the first down of the game.
They actually stick with their offense. It's just different formations, and they give you different looks. They'll come off with double tight. They'll give you a wing T look, as in right now they have a wing to the right side, but it's just a wing T, and it's still coming out of the wishbone formations and runs.
This is Haas again. He's got some room out to the outside of the numbers, down near the 30-yard line. Pickup of about 8.
Nice job. He's only a junior. He's averaged 8 yards a carry thus far. You can see him cutting to the outside. Now he had turned it up here. He tried to dip it outside and went right into the defender. He did a nice job for the cornerback by trying to go outside. He turns it inside. He's got a big gainer. This is what they're going to do. They're just going to bang away and hope that they can pick up that big run. And a big run to them is 15, 20 yards. They'll settle for that 4 and 5 yards of crack and run that clock.
Haas limped to the huddle and then limped to the sideline. Number 34, Tevin Sellers, replaces him in the backfield. He is a sophomore.
Close to a first down.
And it's Griffin again, Trey Griffin, 1,300 yards this year. He rushed for over 2,000 a year ago. He is a back-to-back first-team All-Stater. Not as many yards this year, but that respect he earned a year ago helped him. He missed a couple of games due to injury, and now Haas returns for Lena Winslow.
Well, the other part I like about Trey Griffin, number 40, the fullback, is he's also a wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
And he won the state championship at 189 pounds. And the year before, he placed 3rd at 160 pounds. So you know he's a tough kid.
Here's the give to Haas down near the 35-yard line. Josh Brookins in on the tackle there for Tuscola.
Now they fake to the fullback there to draw those inside linebackers in tight, and then they give it to Haas on the little counter look. And a nice job of recovery by the linebackers getting back in to fill those holes. Again, we're looking at 2nd and 8. And we're in 4-down territory here, so it's really 3rd and 8. Or excuse me, 1st and 8.
Here's the give to Griffin left side. He's got some room and pushes forward into about the 15-yard line. And Jack, he is like a steamroller. That's a song Elvis did. I'm a steamroller, baby, gonna roll all over you. And he just, once he gets going, he's like a linebacker, defensive end carrying the ball. He's just all kinds of tough to bring down there.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And when you kind of have this kind of an offense, what you're looking for is not necessarily speed burners. You're looking for tough, hard-nosed kids inside, but they also have to be able to block. And that's what you saw right there. The lead blockers, both backs leading him, and did a nice job.
Different formation, not much different as far as what they try to do, but Tuscola sniffs that one out. And the tackler there, number 52, Jack Leonard, the All-Stater for Tuscola, 6'3", 230-pound senior. He sniffed this one out, didn't he?
Well, you can see they just squeezed inside and did a nice job of getting to the football. And what happens down here is the DBs can come into play because we're talking about the safeties not having to play the field. It's a shortened field now. It's not the length that they have to worry about being beat over the top. And so they can help and they turn into linebackers.
9th play of the drive, Griffin charges down near the 10-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and about 7. They need to get to about the 5-yard line for a first down.
You can see right here, nice job of open field tackling by the corner. comes up and does a nice job. And when you get down in this situation, when you're in the red zone, you have to be able to count on those defensive backs to be sure tacklers, because they are on an island all by themselves out there. If they don't make the play, it's 6 points.
Haas and Griffin in the backfield that time. It's Haas. He's down inside the 10. It'll be 4th and a long 4 for Lena Winslow. First ever state title appearance. No state championships in school history. They finished 2nd in track in the past. So this is new ground for Lena Winslow. They are located up near the Wisconsin border, up around Freeport, Illinois.
Well, I think what happened during calisthenics and the pregame and all that kind of stuff is when all the jitters were. Right now, it's just a football game like any other football game. They're not thinking about being a state championship game. It's a regular football game, and they need 4 yards, and they're going to get it +6.
They are going to get it, and they are going to get a touchdown. That is Tevin Sellers, the sophomore, who gets the end around for the score. 10-yard touchdown run, Tevin Sellers off the bench. So 3 amigos +1, Jack.
Good call. Went inside with the ball fakes inside, squeezing in the linebackers and the safety, and then they go outside after the handoff. Take a look right here how everybody squeezes down inside, and then we get the perimeter run right here with some good speed. Ball's in good position there, picks up not only the first down, but 6 points.
Adam Wright for the point after for Lena Winslow as they look to take a 7-0 lead on the defending state champs. Kick is up. It is good. No good. Check that. Boy, deceptive angle from up here. It's no good. And it's a 6-0 Lena Winslow lead. The sophomore leading them into the end zone, and a 6-0 lead over Tuscola. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. IHSA Championship Football is brought to you by Country Financial. What's your idea of financial security? Lena Winslow taking a 6-0 lead on the defending state champs. That's interesting. They've got the 3-headed monster, so to switch it up, they don't pass. They give the ball to another guy.
Which is the same as a pass for them, getting out on the edge, because you're pounding it up inside between the tackles the entire game, which is squeezing the defenders inside, the linebackers, the safety, and all of a sudden you give that fake inside and you hand off to the flanker coming around, and he's on the perimeter, and then the speed comes into play, and there's 6 points. Sounds easy up here, doesn't it?
Sure does. Adam Wright to kick off, and it's Coney Shelmadine, the deep receiver, but one of the up men will take it for Tuscola, and he's got some room to run. That is Sexton, Austin Sexton, sophomore, with a return of 17, and that's where Tuscola will take over. Now, here's the Tuscola road to Champaign, a shutout win over Carrollton. Look at that win over Central A&M, 54-36, a real shootout there. 35-14 over Route, and then an overtime win over Brown County. That was a really hard-fought, not a real pretty game, but a hard-fought win for Tuscola as they return to the state championship. That extra point looked good, but I had a little trouble with it.
Yes, you did. Your geometry, if you took geometry 3 times like I did through all 3 seasons, fall, winter, and spring, you would have known that from up here. Angles are my...
Silly me for passing it the first time. Jonathan Turner with the carry there to get this drive started for Tuscola, the defending state champs. 11-play drive for Lena Winslow, covering 48 yards, 452, and the touchdown run.
They are really spreading them out. Excuse me. They are really spreading them out on the perimeter here. As the ball's on one hash mark, they have 4 receivers to the wide side. Obviously no backs, but the key is that Judd Winkies is also an excellent runner at 6'3", 235 pounds. Another high snap.
They really had trouble with that.
Oh, that's up for grabs.
That's a jump ball, and Lena Winslow looks like they've come away with it, and they have.
That wasn't the win. That ball, I think, just really slipped out of his hands when he was about to throw it. That was just like a punt.
Casey Schrader with the interception, the 5'10 junior with the pick. That was a very poorly thrown ball.
You can see he had a bad snap, and then he got pressure. He threw off his back foot and just got up in the air.
Really having trouble on the exchange, Jack. I don't know if the wind's having anything to do with that.
Well, you know, that has a lot to do with it. When the center has to snap into the wind or with the wind, that has effect. It's just like a quarterback throwing the ball against the wind.
Boy, Haas did a nice job of turning that run into some positive yards. He ran into a block in the backfield. There is a flag. Haas out to the 48-yard line. And it will go against Lena Winslow. Kent Hammond of Springfield is our referee chief. Doug Strom, Bert Gerger, Chris Bergschneider, Daniel Smith, our officials here today. Our congratulations to them for making it to the state championship game here today and getting to call this game on the turf.
On offense.
It was holding
Repeat first down
against Lena Winslow.
For our fans at home, Lee, I hope that they aren't trying to figure out why this spread formation isn't working. In the 4 playoff games that Tuscola has played, they have scored 50 points on average in those 4 games. So there's a lot of offense yet to come.
Pitches to Hosser on the left side. He got a nice block there.
Mercy.
He's got some room. Haas to the 30. Will they catch him? He's going all the way. 67-yard touchdown run. And Lena Winslow jumps out to a 2-touchdown lead. Quinn Haas, his 19th touchdown run of the year.
Well, he has over 1,400 yards rushing throughout the season. And again, as we talked about that 3-headed monster, but you can see right out in front of him right now, number 74, Gerard Gift, 6'1", 215-pound junior, did a nice job of getting on that cornerback, just enough to shade him, but just an excellent effort by Quinn Haas on that spin move and then using his speed to get down the sideline.
Well, you don't go anywhere without those big guys up front, do you? Now
You
looks
really
like
don't.
Lena Winslow rather will go for 2 here, leading 12-0.
Bootleg pass, Waggle.
He's got a man. Incomplete. They say he was out of bounds. The intended receiver was Adam Werhan.
That was just a timing problem. It was a well-designed play, but he ran out of ground, and the quarterback didn't deliver the ball soon enough. You can see right here when he turns, he should be delivering the ball. He's waiting way too long to allow the defender to get over there. You can see right there he just ran out of territory. Good throw, good catch, but not enough room.
Joe Edler, the quarterback, doesn't get to throw it a lot out of this offense. That was just his 60th pass attempt of the year.
It's tough to get warmed up.
12-0, the Lena Winslow lead. Their running game has exploded here.
But he really did not have possession till he was going out of bounds. Great camera work.
A great effort there by Lena Winslow as they take an early lead here over the defending state champs. Tuscola won the state championship in 2006, returned in 2007. Didn't win the championship that year, so this is a second chance at 2 in a row for Tuscola. They're going to have to make a comeback effort as Lena Winslow has jumped out to the 2-touchdown lead here in our 1A state championship game with 2:20 to go in the first quarter. There you get a look at the young man Quinn Haas. Been to state track meets in several events, and you can see why. A little squib kick here, fielded at the 33-yard line by Tuscola. Josh Brookins brings it out to about the 35-yard line.
Well, psychologically, for the Panthers of Winslow, this is a big move, being able to be in a state championship game against a defending state champ and go up 2 scores in the first quarter. Now, that's not to dismiss the fact that Tuscola still has a lot of offense and a lot of football behind him here, and they're going to be showing it to us very soon. But psychologically, this is a big plus.
Good snap that time. Winky the throw. Had a man, threw it behind him a little bit. The intended receiver was Pat Yoakum, the senior, and he was kind of backpedaling and reaching back for it.
You could see the delivery was a lot better than his last throw on that. But one of the factors in the spread formation, a high snap like we've seen almost on every snap from you could see right there, that throws off the faking and the timing of the entire play. If he's got to reach up and get up on his toes to pick up the snap, that throws off a lot of timing for the quarterback. Again, looking to the sideline to see if they want to stay with the original call or make a switch, and that's what I think he's doing.
2nd down and 10. Winky has a man at the 45 rather, but boy, he was clocked right when he got to the ball. Number 34 for Tuscola with the takedown there.
3rd and 10.
This is a pretty good throw right there. That's just basically dropped. It was a well-thrown football.
Tevin Sellers, who ran for the touchdown for Lena Winslow with the coverage there, and a pretty good hit as the receiver went up for the ball. 3rd and 10, and Tuscola having a tough time getting their offense going here in the first quarter of this 1A state championship game, trailing 12-0 as we approach the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. Winky has time, looking deep, has a man coming back for the ball. Is Shelmadine at the 30, and he's going to go.
I think the other side, Winslow's looking for a flag, but they're not going to get it.
Cody Shelmadine, 64-yard touchdown catch, and Tuscola, after struggling offensively for much of the first quarter, gets a touchdown strike. That is touchdown number 36 on the year for Judd Winke, 20th touchdown catch for Cody Shelmadine, the senior receiver.
Oftentimes thrown in the wind can have an advantage for the offense because this holds the ball up and the receiver is allowed to come back to it. He actually comes back a little bit to get that football. He had the defender beat by a step or two, but the underthrown ball allowed him to come back underneath.
Kick is up and good, and we've got ourselves a 5-point ball game. Extra point by Pat Yoakum makes it 12-7 with 1:53 to go here in the first quarter. Extra points could come down to be a deciding factor in this game. There's another look at Shelmadine.
You can see he had him beat initially, and then the underthrown pass thrown into the wind, he was able to come back to it, where the defender is not normally looking back to the ball. He's looking at the receiver's eyes, and so thus he's kind of had at a disadvantage obviously there, so the receiver is able to come back for it.
There's a look at the drive summary. Pretty quick strike offense. That's the one thing about this kind of offense, Jack. You get down 12-0. It's not that big a deal when you have that big play capability.
It really isn't, and certainly the confidence that Judd Winke has in his arm and his receivers is a key to that factor. When you throw 35 touchdown passes in a regular season, you know that he has a tremendous confidence level in himself and in his receivers.
36 touchdown passes for him this season, now 7 interceptions. That's quite a ratio.
It really is. It really is, and especially at this level in high school, when you're throwing the ball constantly, when he's 156 completions out of 287 attempts for 2,700 yards. That's an incredible statistic for a high school quarterback.
27-second drive. That will make up for a lot of
so much for the 2-minute drills.
All right, we've got ourselves a ball game now.
Well, for them, it's always a 2-minute drill when you're in that kind of an offense. It really is, and that's when people talk about goal line offenses. What do you go into? Well, in the case of Winslow, they're always in their goal line offense.
Picked off. A couple of bounces there and brought down at the 15-yard line. Casey Schrader picked it up after a couple of bounces and had nowhere to go as Tuscola was all over it. Great coverage. Special teams play, that's one thing that gets overlooked a lot, Jack, but they've got them pinned down deep in their own territory into the wind. Not that that matters much for Lena Winslow when you don't throw the ball, but that's a long way to go.
Special teams are always, from a coach's standpoint, critical, no matter which phase of the game it is. If you look on the scoreboard, you'll see that 12-point effort. Special teams 1 point short there. And that could come back to haunt them later.
Griffin with the carry. Jordan Scribner, the junior, comes up from his defensive back position to make the tackle.
What's crucial for an offense like this, when you run on the wishbone or the wing tee, a variety of that, first down is critical. They need to pick up 4 yards on first down, because if you're held short or under 4 yards on that first down, they have a lot to make up, especially when you don't throw the ball. So when you're looking at a team like this, first down and the yardage they pick up is always critical.
2nd and 8. Give is to Griffin. He's met in the backfield and dragged down by Leonard at about the 20-yard line. Jack Leonard, the All-Stater, with another tackle.
Well, he has 45 solo tackles in the regular season with 28 assists. So he, being the nose man, is obviously the focal point of that particular defense. And he really is all over the field. He has great pursuit angles, and he's a very tough kid, and he's quick. And he plays both ways. So where will it take its toll on him? On the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side? It's a good look at him right there. 6'3", 230-pound All-Stater.
Time running out here first quarter. The give is to Griffin. He's met again after not much of a gain. Griffin with the carry. Dylan Stewart, linebacker in there. He's a 5'11" senior. So things changing very quickly here now. The Tuscola offense couldn't get going. That quick strike touchdown has picked them up a little bit, maybe carried over a little momentum to their defense here as they're fired up. Tuscola with a timeout.
Well, field position has not been the friend of the Panthers thus far. I mean, they made that drive early, but right now they've been stalled. Their first drive was stalled, and field position has shown to be somewhat of a factor in this first quarter. Now they're going to have to punt again. And they got a good roll with a low kick the last time, and it'll be interesting to see if they can do that now. You cannot give a team like Tuscola good field position. You have got to put them down inside the 30 as often as possible.
Rick Reinhardt calling timeout to force Lena Winslow to have to punt into the wind, and then he'll turn around and his offense will have to go into the wind the second quarter.
Well, obviously he's more concerned about the field position right now. He knows that he also has a running game to go along with that passing game. And that's very important. If you just throw the ball only, that's one thing. But he's got Jonathan Turner, a 1,300-yard rusher in the backfield, so that can help him. Ooh, that was tipped and blocked.
Another good bounce, though. It will bounce into Tuscola territory. They will take over at their own 45-yard line.
It's not the field position you want to give them.
34-yard punt into the wind. All things considered, that's not bad. 11 seconds to go first quarter.
32-yard punt.
So Tuscola will get one play here with the wind at their back before the end of the period, trailing 12-7. Judd Winke All-Stater this year. 2,700 yards plus throwing the football.
It's amazing for a young man to have that kind of a year after coming off a season last year where he dislocated his shoulder, but he did come back in the state title game and threw for 165 yards and 2+ touchdowns. So he's been here before, so he has a little maturity when it comes to this game.
Ball is off the hands of Shelmadine, and boy, that could have very easily been picked.
Now, just a comment to be made with this kind of an offense under these kind of weather conditions. Watch where he has to catch the ball. You want the ball to be caught in the hands. You never want it caught in the body, in the hands. But with these kind of temperatures, it's tough to catch the football, especially as hard as Judd throws.
I was just going to say he's bringing the heat. 6 seconds to go. They'll get another play here with the wind at their back. 12-7 Lena Winslow. 3 receivers right. And late throw over the middle, and that's always dangerous.
Especially the way the linebackers are dropping here. They're really getting those linebackers out of there and covering all 4 underneath zones and making it difficult for Judd to make the read. And then he's flushed a little bit, so he's throwing the ball off balance.
Making the most of their time here. I didn't think they'd get that many plays off before the quarter ended. This will be their 3rd play in what, 11 seconds?
Well, when the clock
seconds?
stops, of course, when it's incomplete.
True.
So
that's true. Winke on 3rd down. There is a flag. Looking down the left sideline, and the intended receiver was out of bounds. Dylan Hull was out of bounds as the ball was thrown. There is a flag.
I think it's going to be on Tuscola.
Will go against Tuscola. So the quarter will
Got
end.
illegal motion on offense.
Illegal motion against the Warriors. That'll bring up 4th down as we go to the second quarter. 12-7, Lena Winslow with the early lead over the defending state champs. We're back with the 1A state championship game after this. The 2010 IHSA football championship brought to you by Country Financial. Rick Reinhardt's Tuscola Warriors will punt here on 4th down to start the second quarter. Pat Yoakum, the kick, another low one. It bounces, and that's kind of what Jack McInerney's wedge shots do on the green. They
fight and they come back.
Take a look at the stats. 1 first down for Tuscola. A lot of the numbers are going to go Lena Winslow's way. 102 yards rushing, minus 2 yards rushing for Tuscola. Judd Winke 1 for 8 passing. The 1 completion was a touchdown.
But there's probably been 4 dropped.
Right.
And that's important. But the key, a game like this, when you're talking about people that run these various offenses, the time of possession is always very interesting, because you can look at somebody and they might have only 3 minutes as right here, but they can score. Their drive was 28 seconds.
Here's Trey Griffin with a nice carry out across the 40-yard line.
Trey Griffin, ball carrier.
Griffin battled knee and ankle injuries all season. He missed games week 5 and week 6 for Lena Winslow.
But so crucial, Lee, to have a good, tough fullback, because everything focuses on him. If he can get you those inside yards between the inside shoulders of the tackles, that opens everything up for the other backs. Like right here, that's outside the tackle spot.
2nd and 4 carry for Quinn Haas, who has a touchdown run this morning. And it's a first down for Lena Winslow. And they can really pile up the numbers, Jack. 348 yards rushing in round 2 against Dakota, 351 yards rushing against Lewiston last weekend, and 492 against East Dubuque.
Well, based on the running backs that they have and the kind of offensive line they have, which we haven't mentioned yet, but we will, they just pound the ball and they're very effective at it.
Griffin the carry. He's up across midfield before he's brought down. Yeah, Jared Gift, Tyler Bougen, Andy Lake, Tom Rochadel, Andrew Dry, the guys up front.
They do a great job. Those running backs, they get all the accolades, but the linemen up front are the ones that create that whole offensive scenario for them.
We mentioned Trey Griffin, first team All-Stater. He was first team all year, or All-State a year ago, with those more impressive numbers, but just the respect the kid gets to earn All-State again this year. Teams realized that he was out, and what a great back he was. His numbers weren't as good because of the injuries. That's Haas with the ball that trip.
Well, whenever you have a wrestler that's your fullback, as number 40 is right there, Trey Griffin, you know he's going to be a tough kid, and especially when he's been a state wrestling champ and came in 3rd place another year. And there's a good shot of the coach sending the plays out.
Joe Edler is the quarterback, and he gets overlooked a lot in an offense like this, but he's got to take care of that ball, make good handoffs. That's not all that easy to do with all that traffic back there either.
It really isn't. You can see the secondary right now is right up in the line of scrimmage. We're looking at almost an 11-man front.
3rd and 4, Griffin stopped at the 45-yard line. He'll be 2 yards short.
As the game progresses, you'll notice the Warriors at Tuscola, gradually the defensive backs become linebackers, and the linebackers become defensive linemen. Everybody keeps moving up, and then they'll hit you with that one play-action pass that'll break your back. And, of course, you know, he's only thrown 59 passes through 13 games thus far and completed 27 of them for 380 yards.
That's close to 50%.
Well, it's close, doing my math, with 8 touchdowns, and I'm sure that if we looked at all those tapes, those 8 TDs were right off play-action passes and were big passes.
I know you took geometry 3 times.
Yes.
I mean, you're not real good on the division. I'll help you with that.
Well, math is one of my strong suits.
And we've got a timeout. Down on the field, 8:50 to go, 2nd quarter. Lena Winslow with the 12-7 lead over Tuscola. 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney. 1A state championship football. Lena Winslow, unranked in the final poll of the season, leading Tuscola, the defending state champs, 12-7. 4th down here with 8:51 to go in the 2nd quarter, and Lena Winslow's going to go for it.
And they're going to get it.
The give is to Haas. He's outside, inside the 35-yard line when he's steps out of bounds. Nice job there where you talk about that line, and that's the one thing that Rick Aaron talked about is how much his offensive line has come together. They lost to Dakota week 1, and then they took it to Dakota in the playoffs. That offensive line has gotten better and better all year.
It really has. Now, they average 220 pounds up front, but you can see this play goes out on the perimeter. And what happens is you're in a situation with 3 yards to go, and they're looking inside, and he bounces it outside and picks up that big gainer, and that was crucial. You can tell 2 things by that play. First of all, the coach trusts his team as far as offense, they can pick up 3 yards. And the other thing is he's afraid of the offense of Tuscola because he does not want to give them the ball back in midfield.
Trey Griffin with the carry that time for 3 yards. There's that 4th down run by Quinn Haas.
Right there. Great job of getting outside. A poor job of tackling, but a better job of just getting outside. Good feet.
Here's Haas, not much.
That's the exact same play, but now the tackle is made for no gain.
Pat Yoakum got up there and tripped him up. Haas with 74 yards already in this ball game. Of course, a good chunk of those coming on that touchdown run. No, that was Sellers with the touchdown run.
Good shot of Jack Leonard, their all-state linebacker and center, 2-way player.
He did too have a touchdown run. I was right.
I didn't want to say anything.
Since when? Those words have never left your mouth before. Uh-oh, Edler back to throw. He's got him open. He's open. That's Casey Schrader. There you go. Boy, Coach, he called that. Pound him, pound him, pound him, get everybody to come up, and there was Joe Edler with the completion to Casey Schrader for 17 yards.
And where he's at is crucial also, because this is 4-down territory for him. So even if it does not open up, and you can see it is wide open, a little underthrown, but wide open, he still was in 4-down territory. So even if he gave up that, it was an incompletion, they still had other downs to go for it. But so when they're in the red zone is basically when they're going to throw the ball off the play action.
1st and 10 inside the red zone. Here's Griffin. He's got some room. He's got one man to beat, and he will be brought down at about the 2-yard line. Pat Yoakum saving the touchdown, at least for now, after the 15-yard pickup by Trey Griffin.
Boy, they really have Tuscola's defense off balance. They really have them off balance. You can see how they show one way. The guard pulls 62 and 65, Tyler Bouchon and Tommy Rochedel, both guards and tackles, weak side counter Trey, what we call, and just did a nice job of getting out in front of them. Now, when you get 200-pounders, 240-pounders that can run like that, that's telling you something.
It's Dasher, the 2-yard touchdown run. Seth Dasher with the touchdown, his 9th touchdown of the season, and it's 18-7. Lena Winslow, nice drive that time by the Panthers, who just they throw a pass in there and a little change up. They've got so many weapons with the running backs. Oh boy,
they can control the clock, control the ball. That's the name of their offense. And what's interesting, high school football is one of the only games, contrary, obviously you don't see it in college and the pros anymore, where you can see a team like this come out of nowhere and be up like this in the first half against the defending state champ.
Adam Wright's kick is up and good, 19-7. Lena Winslow with 6:54 to go here in the second quarter. An impressive drive, an impressive start to this ball game by Lena Winslow. They were up 12-7, and it looked like maybe Tuscola was grabbing some momentum, and they get the ball back and just, you know, it's old school football. It's classic. They just pound it 55 yards down the field and score.
They really do. All they are basically, for the most part, those backs are just smaller linemen, because they just get right up behind those big linemen and just pound the ball and pound the ball.
And not much smaller.
And not much smaller is right. And just tough kids. Solid, tough, well-conditioned athletes.
Coach Aaron talked about his offensive line and how they grew up. 4 new linemen to start the year and going up against Dakota and Jerry Lano's team. And they lost week 1. Dakota owned the line of scrimmage, but then he said this team has gotten better. This line has gotten better every week, and that's always a goal as a coach. It doesn't always happen that way, as you well know, but to see that, that's helped this team gain momentum and get to where they are here today and playing for a state.
Well, you have 3 seniors in there, which give you the leadership, and then you pop in 2 juniors there, and they feed off of those seniors, and it's just a great work ethic that they have, and they just keep banging away, and the end result is being in the state championship game in Champaign.
The up man to bring it back for Tuscola. Jimmy Knight with the return, and Tuscola will take over at their own 29-yard line, trailing 19-7. There's a look at the number of offensive plays, and that's ball control right there. 29 offensive plays for Lena Winslow. They are clock eaters. There's no doubt about it. They just pound, pound, pound. Here's the give to Turner. And not much there. And that's one thing Rick Aaron talked about too, Jack, is if we can turn Tuscola into a one-dimensional team, take away the run, that makes them a one-dimensional team and an easier team to defend.
Well, it really is, and that's really one of the first running plays that they have looked at, and it was no gain, and because the linebackers are dropping out. I mean, they're 5 yards off the line of scrimmage right now, and they're doing a nice job. The key to this front is the defensive lineman. There's another poor snap.
Winky running for his life, and he'll just throw it away.
There's no defender here. It's going to be a flag.
Intentional grounding will go against Judd Winky. Yeah, you can't just get outside the tackle.
Not in high school
football.
High school. No. Not in high school football, and that was definitely just a throw out of bounds. And that's a loss of down.
Boy, they have had so much trouble on the exchange.
And again, give credit to that defensive line of Lena Winslow, of Dasher, number 32, O'Shea, 75, Tommy Rojadel, number 65, and Robbie Lindquist, number 85. The front four, they've done a nice job.
On offense, that'd be a loss of down, third down.
They've done a nice job of putting the pressure on quarterback and keeping contained, because he's a good enough athlete that if he breaks contain, he can run. But you could see on there, he had nowhere to go. They did a nice job of leverage there, keeping him from turning upfield. This is not something they're used to.
We don't want to beat up on Jack Leonard, but they obviously have to get this figured out. There's a good snap right there. Winky, plenty of time to throw, has a man across the 32-yard line. That's Pat Yoakum with the reception.
Winky's pass is complete to Pat Yoakum.
6', 160-pound senior.
That was a nice route run by Yoakum. He got right in behind the linebacker and in front of the safety and just settled down in that zone. And it's still going to be fourth down, but it was a nice catch and a nice throw.
Gives him a little field position edge there. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that Tuscola has to have. They got to get that exchange worked out. Winky to punt. It's into the wind, and Tuscola will down it. And that's where Lena Winslow will take over at their own 39-yard line. Punt of 29 into that wind. Pat Yoakum, usually the punter. That's unusual to see Winky come into their punt.
Well, not only that, but just think about it. It's 20-some degrees here, and you're kicking the ball. My foot just, seriously, think about that. That's just, for a kid to do that is really something. It's just and that leather ball into this wind, and your feet are cold. I wonder it's only going 20 or 30 yards.
Here's the give to Haas. Makes a little move outside. Spin move out near the first down marker. Boy, Quinn Haas, a nice little razzle-dazzle juke move there.
What they're doing is everybody's collapsing inside on the initial fake to Griffin right here. And then he bounces outside and gets tripped up, and he gets outside and just puts a little move right there. A little spin move, picks up 9 yards.
It's amazing what a change of speed will do for a running back.
Yes.
2nd and 1. Here's the give right up the gut to Trey Griffin, the All-Stater. He has a first down. He had 121 yards in the semifinal win over Lewiston. He carried the ball 11 straight times at one point.
Well,
that's the definition of a workhorse.
That's also the definition of conditioning through wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those are some of the finest conditioned athletes you'll find are wrestlers. And obviously the mentality they have, the toughness. That's the kind of fullback you want, and or linebackers.
10th first down for Lena Winslow, just one for Tuscola, and a whistle and a flag before they could get things underway.
You know, it's interesting. I think when get this call, illegal procedure. A lot of people think that there should be an underdog in a state championship game. I never look at it that way. If you get this far, you're not an underdog at all. And I think you're on an even keel here. I mean, you look at 12 and both teams are 12-1. Tuscola defending state championship, but that was last year.
Right.
It's a whole new year, and you're down here, and there, to me, is never an underdog in the state championship game. One might play a little better than the other in the game, and that's how you determine a winner, but there's never an underdog.
Here's Haas on a little misdirection there and brought down after maybe a gain of 1.
That looked a little sloppy in the mechanics in the backfield. I think that threw the timing off of that play.
181 yards of total offense for Lena Winslow, 165 on the ground. That's about average for them, believe it or not.
It is, yeah.
Under 4 minutes to go now here, second quarter.
That clock just keeps on running. And that's exactly what they want. They closed down on that real
Doesn't
good.
really go anywhere that time. TJ Onstad in on the tackle there. He's the leading tackler on that Tuscola defense.
Well, you would think after a while on an offense like this that is not so fancy that the defense would catch on and people would start saying, well, you know, eventually going to shut them down. But the key to an offense like this is that offensive line. I don't care how much the linebackers or the DBs know what's coming. They still, that offensive line is critical. And they can still open those holes where you're going to get 3 or 4 yards of crack, and that's crucial.
3rd and 14, Lena Winslow calls timeout. We're back in Champaign right after this. The 2010 IHSA Football Championship brought to you by Country Financial. Back on a chilly morning in Champaign, 27 degrees, wind chill's 22. It's a little chilly out there, kind of a football day after Thanksgiving. You packed on all that turkey and stuffing yesterday. That ought to keep you warm today.
Speak for yourself.
3rd and 14, Griffin trying to get to the outside, and he'll get to the 45 where he's brought down, so it'll bring up 4th and about 8. What will Rick Aaron call here?
A punt.
Well, you would think. Now Tuscola's going to take timeout.
Well, they're looking up at the clock. They say 2:58, and they need a little time, and they're not going to. You can't do anything with those timeouts in the locker room at halftime. They don't carry over, so he's going to use them now, so he has more time, obviously, because they would melt that clock down to over 2 minutes before they punted the ball, because you know, with a running game, it's basically a running clock. So he needs time to punch one in before half, and psychologically that'll help his ball club if he can do that.
Like a rolling ball, a razor blades. Punt, touchdown, touchdown, punt, touchdown. Hitting about 600 if you're in the major leagues doing that kind of thing.
It's an amazing stat for them coming into this ball game. Because on that first drive, they were just shut down. 3 plays and out, and they probably gained about 4 yards in that first drive.
And the scary thing is, this kind of offense, it can gain momentum in that second half the more you pound.
Right.
Ooh. They've been awfully good here in the first half, leading 19-7. They'll punt it away. High snap. Pretty good kick.
Nice.
Goes out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. The official still walking.
Boy, that really kind of had an angle on it, didn't it?
And it's out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Punt of 19 yards. Looked good, but the wind might have helped push that a little bit out of bounds.
I think it did.
2:51 to go here. It'll be Tuscola trying to get back in the end zone going into the wind. We talked about that, the communication and the calls from the sideline, and Coach Reinhardt saying it took a little while to get to the point where it is now. It's pretty smooth now. Incomplete pass there for Winky. He's had a tough day throwing it.
He really has. His mechanics have not looked that good.
Let's see if it was tipped at the line.
Good mechanics right there. Now you can see he had to change the direction there by the jumping defensive lineman. Trace Quinn got up, Robert Lindquist got up in his face.
Here's the give to Turner. We haven't heard much from him. Ball on the ground. And it's Lena Winslow ball. Oh my goodness, a costly turnover for Tuscola here late in the first half. Picked up by Lena Winslow. Looked like big number 75. O'Shea Smith, the sophomore, got on it.
And this is the type of situation right here where they're not going to get the ball back if all goes well. They'll run this 240 right down and result in 6 points or a field goal. But with this kind of an offense in this field position, look out Tuscola.
Lena Winslow could take a commanding lead here. Griffin turns it back inside after a gain of about 2. Let's take another look at that fumble, Jack.
Right here, it's just a little trap. You can see right there he gets popped, trying to get that extra yard, and that's when it comes down. Good gang tackling, better angle right here. Right here, good hit. The hand comes through. He punches up as he's going through him and pops the ball free. Good job of tackling. Excellent fundamentals.
Like Adam Werheim might have got a hand in there. 2nd and 8. Here's the give to Haas, a little end around. He's outside the number, steps inside a tackle, shakes another one, and he's down to about the 16-yard line. It'll be first down for Lena Winslow after a pickup of 15 by Quinn Haas, who's having himself one outstanding state championship game here today.
Well, Quinn Haas just happened to be carrying the football on that play because the leaders of that play who made it go were the linemen. Watch him pulling right here, get out in front. Andy Lake, number 50. Look at him running. He's actually running faster than a block, a pancake right there, speaking of Thanksgiving weekend. But just a great job by the offensive lineman. Gift, Rochadell, Dry, Lake, Bouchon, they are doing a great job on this offense in this first half.
Trey Griffin, the carry, picks up 4. He's got 76 yards. Haas now has 98 yards.
They're having a little legal substitution right here. We are. It's going to be another 5 yards tacked onto that.
Well, that was a nice job. And, you know, we talked about Joe Edler, the quarterback, not getting a lot of credit because he doesn't run the ball, doesn't throw the ball a lot. I tell you what, they got to the line and got that play before Tuscola could get their defensive man off.
And he saw it coming.
Right.
And he could see that. He just called in a quick snap. And usually what you do, it's just a quick movement to the center, and he automatically snaps the ball. Very similar to when you run a quarterback sneak. If you want to go on a quick count, you just give the center an extra little tap, and he snaps the ball immediately, irregardless of what the count might have been. And that's exactly what he did right there.
Judd Winke can only stand at the sideline helplessly looking on.
We got a legal substitution on the defense. 5-yard penalty.
Boy, this is crucial.
19-7, Lena Winslow. They could add to that lead here in the waning moments of the first half.
And they've got a lot of time with that offense right now. I mean, this is their whole offense is their goal line offense. So there's no coaching changes to this.
Right.
And they're in the wishbone.
Give us to Griffin. He's inside the 5. Down to about the 4-yard line. We'll bring up 3rd down and goal.
And this is just right here, just power football. All it is with the exclusion of the quarterback, take him out. It's 10-man football, just the linemen and the backs. Now they're going into a double wing with 2 tight ends.
Here's the give to Haas. He's the man in motion. Steps inside. Touchdown, Lena Winslow.
What a great job. I hate to be redundant, which you know I often am, but the offensive line is just doing a tremendous job here for Lena Winslow. They are just getting out front of those running backs, and those running backs just don't have to do anything but run to the orange, which is the end zone. Just look at those linemen out there. Everybody's on somebody. Everybody's picking somebody up, and it's just a running lane right there for junior Quinn Haas. Just a terrific job of blocking by that offensive line. Bad snap.
The holder is Evan Hare. He's running for his life and brought down at the 15-yard line. So point after no good, but a 25-7 Lena Winslow lead with 1:05 to go here. He went over the 100-yard mark, and his second touchdown of the day for Quinn Haas. Wow.
But with an offense very much what Tuscola has, you cannot dismiss this score at all here. They've got a whole second half of football. Just a nice job of running in between those linemen who are kicking out the cornerback and sealing off the inside linebacker. Excellent camera work right here. You can see right there how they get right on number 65, Tommy Rochadell. 6 foot, 205-pounder, get out in front and blocking a safety. Just a great job.
Quinn Haas the touchdown, then he points to his lineman who paved the way for him into the end zone. His 20th touchdown run of the year. He averages about 8.5 yards every time he touches it. And he has had he's had a great ball game here in the first half.
Well, he has individually, statistically, but from a coaching standpoint, the people that have had a great game is the offensive line for Lena Winslow. They've just really manhandled Tuscola.
To the tune of 216 yards of total offense.
And that's a very difficult adjustment to make at halftime. You can't say that offensive line is manhandling. Usually your adjustments are by formations and shifts and things like that. And we might see more shifting out of the defensive linemen of Tuscola in the second half, and maybe more stunting.
Adam Wright's kick goes out of bounds inside the 20. Jimmy Knight couldn't catch up to it. And they're actually going to mark it at the 7-yard line.
I think he touched it before it went out of bounds. Yep, flag's waved off because he did touch it. See, if it went out of bounds, then it would have gone back up. We'll see if he touches it here. Yes, he did, and that's why.
Yep.
There it goes. Otherwise, it gone out of bounds, it would have been up on the 35-yard line.
Good call by our officials down on the field on this windy, chilly, sunny day here in Champaign. Rick Reinhardt looking on, trying to figure out how to stop that wishbone offense.
Now they go under center just to get out of here and regroup at halftime.
Well, that's a lot of clock to kill.
It's a lot of clock to kill, and obviously Lena's not going to stop the clock. But the other factor you got to remember at halftime in a high school football game, you got to tell the kids, and it's very difficult to get 16, 17, 18-year-old kids to understand this. This is halftime. It's not the end of the game. We've got a whole second half to play, and adjustments have to be made by both teams. With the offense that Tuscola runs, they can get right back in this ball game in a matter of minutes. And Lena Winslow's got to remember they've got to play the same tenacious way they did in the first half.
And from Tuscola's point of view, it looked like they were going to be able to maybe get something going, and then they turned the ball over. It was less than 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Lena Winslow turns that into 6 points.
Well, it's a good football team will always take advantage of turnovers, and that's the key, especially in a state championship game.
A very impressive first half for Lena Winslow. They take a 25-7 lead to the locker room over the defending state champs from Tuscola. 216 yards total offense, 102 yards rushing for Quinn Haas. He has 2 touchdown runs. Tevin Sellers has a touchdown run, and Joe Edler, the quarterback, with a touchdown pass. They lead at 25-7. Let's go downstairs to our sideline reporter, Aaron Bennett. Aaron.
Guys, thanks a lot here with Lena Winslow, head coach Rick Aaron, your team leading 25-7 here at halftime. First time ever for these kids in the state championship. It looks like they've responded pretty well so far.
Yeah, they have. The nerves are gone. We've done what we've done all year long. We just come out and played hard and played well, and our defense has played so well here in the first half. We gave up the one big play, but it was a lucky play to begin with, and but our offense is just fed off of our defense, and we just sustained drives and hit big runs just like we have all year long.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, Aaron, thanks a lot. Great point by Coach Aaron. Holding Tuscola to 7 points and a half is an outstanding defensive effort.
Well, it's a combination of the tenacious defense that the Panthers of Lena Winslow are doing, but it's also the inadequacies that offense is being shown by Tuscola.
We're back after this from Champaign.
Well, welcome back to the 2010 IHSA State Football Championships. We're at halftime of the Class 1A game. Lena Winslow leading Tuscola 25-7. I'm Aaron Bennett. I'm joined now by Champaign Convention and Visitors Bureau's Libby Kasich, here to talk about Tent City. It's one of those things you don't see on the telecast a lot, but some fun for a lot of the fans and the players from these teams to go out and enjoy.
The fans and the teams, we have tents set up for each of the teams, and the big entertainment tent, we have a mechanical bull, face painting, hot chocolate, so people can warm up when it's cold right now. There are balloons, and there's a TV actually, so teams can come in and watch the other games going on and chill out on the couches for a while. So it's a lot of fun, and all the other teams have cookouts going on, so we have a spirit competition, and we are awarding, actually Tuscola won the 1A spirit competition. They went all out and decorated their tent, and it was very cool.
Now this is something that you've done for years, and how have you seen this thing grow each year and more folks get involved in this?
Well, actually, the community has grown a lot, and they actually come out. It's family fun, everyone's welcome, and each year it just keeps getting bigger, and actually the spirit competition keeps growing, and teams get more and more into it, and you see the buses pull in with their police escort, and it's just become a really big event that the community really embraces.
What kind of things do you see in the spirit competition? Just fans going crazy and face paint? Is it decorations? What can you kind of describe the spirit competition for us?
Sure, yeah. There's a face paint. Actually, Tuscola brought a huge grill out that's painted with all of their team colors and like spirit phrases, and there's a bus over there right now that's just all decked out, and huge spreads of food, and the cheerleaders and dancers are out there celebrating outside the tent, so flags hanging everywhere. It's really cool.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Libby Kasich from the Champaign Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're at halftime of the Class 1A game. Lena Winslow over Tuscola 25-7. We're back with more right after this.
Oh, it is a little chilly out there. She's all bundled up, and she's enjoying that. She's a Lena Winslow fan, and they lead it here 25-7 halftime of our 1A state championship game. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney. Let's take a look back at our first half highlights, and it's a lot of Lena Winslow in this highlight package. Winky getting picked off here by Casey Schrader. He had a tough time throwing the ball the whole half, but his one completion was a touchdown strike here to his receiver, Cody Shelmadine, with a 64-yard catch. And this point, it was Lena Winslow pounding it in. Seth Dasher, a 2-yard touchdown run, made it a 2-touchdown lead. And then it was Quinn Haas, his second touchdown run. Haas really racking up the yards, over 100 yards. That's a 67-yard touchdown run earlier in the half, Jack. And boy, the Lena Winslow offense, you talk about the line. Boy, the line play really opened up a lot of holes for Quinn Haas and the backs. And here's a look at those first half statistics. First downs 12-1 for Lena Winslow.
Well, the key to me is that time of possession, and then obviously the rushing yards, and that truly is amazing. And also look at first down. That tells you the type of offense that Lena Winslow has. Everything is ball control, everything is field position. Amazing stats there.
Those turnovers by Tuscola turned into 2 touchdowns for Lena Winslow.
Well, and they had to take advantage of that, which they did, and the offensive line play has been outstanding this first half. There's no doubt about it. Can they continue in the second half? That'll be the big question.
25-7, Lena Winslow with the lead on a brisk day here in Champaign. Our 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. Back after this. Back in Champaign, 25-7, the Lena Winslow lead, and they abbreviate it Lee Win. Lena Winslow, Lee Win, or if you're French, it could be Le Win, which is what they're halfway on the way to here today, Jack.
Well, they really are. They've just played an outstanding first half against a really good football team. Question is, can they sustain this throughout the second half? Because obviously Tuscola has the offense to be able to come back. They did it with 27 seconds on their first touchdown drive, and if they can do those kinds of things in the second half, it's a whole different ballgame. Don't let the score throw you off, folks. Don't leave the TV. We've got still a heck of a second half of football left. These are 2 outstanding football teams.
Tuscola really, it sounds strange to mention, but Tuscola, a spread offense team, but they've been unable to run the ball, and it looked like their late you know, when they got the ball with about 3 minutes to go, it looked like, oh, Turner, nice run. Maybe they'll get something going, turn the ball over.
Well, they've got to make some adjustments in the second half, and it's not so much as far as what Winslow's doing, it's what they're not doing, that being Tuscola. They have to make some adjustments to their running game to make that passing game go. Oftentimes it's one or the other. Right now the passing game's not working, so they're going to have to go to the run a little bit to open up the passing game. Several of those passes in defense of the quarterback were dropped. They were well thrown balls. They were dropped. They will make adjustments. There's been real deep drops by the Lena Winslow linebackers, and I think what's going to happen is they'll start finding them in those zones and starting to march the ball down the field. They have to sustain some drives in the second half.
The one thing I thought I saw from Tuscola, we saw their game on tape against Jacks earlier this year, the quarterfinal game, unable to really get the short passing game going too, and that, a lot of times that acts as a running game and can kind of help you maybe get some confidence for the team and maybe get a little momentum and not get the 20 or 30 yard chunk, but the 4 or 5 yard chunk to maybe get a drive going.
Well, that's what really leads to the big play, because if you start hitting the smaller passes in the zones, in between the linebackers and under the secondary, that leads to the big play, because then they'll start squeezing it, and then all of a sudden you make that second move, and that's what breaks the big play. But they're not making either one of those plays right now, and they have to make some adjustments, and major adjustments.
From a Lena Winslow defensive standpoint, you know, they've really done a number on Tuscola, and they, you know, how do they maintain that? I mean, how do they?
Well, the first thing I would have done is take that offensive line, and I would have said, you guys are the key to this football game. Right now,
feed them a steak at halftime.
Yeah,
and
give them steak, baked potato, whatever they want, as long as they'll continue to play like that in the second half, because the running backs, it's not so much that they're making great runs.
Right.
The offensive line is doing a great job at the point of attack, making and sustaining blocks, and that's the whole key to this first half, has been the outstanding job of that offensive line.
And that's the thing about this offense, is though you don't have to be do a lot of juking and shaking, and you're not supposed to do that, right?
You're not. You're just supposed to pound the ball up the field, get vertical, don't try and go horizontal, because you don't have that kind of speed to get to the perimeter. Just bang up in there, look for a seam, and then break it, as we saw in 2 of the touchdowns. They bounced it inside between the 2 tackles, and then as they squeezed, then they just got outside and they made 2 long runs, which led to scores. And that's what this kind of an offense does. You have to have an outstanding offensive line, and thus far the MVP here is 5 guys up front, and that's the offensive line.
He's Jack McInerney, our color commentator. I'm Lee Hall, and welcome back to Memorial Stadium here in Champaign, Illinois. And let's go downstairs, and I believe we're going to hear from Sophia Minard. No, we're with Aaron. Aaron, I'm sorry about that, my man.
It's me, guys. I'm here with Tuscola head coach Rick Reinhardt. Coach, down 18 at halftime. The offense just never really able to get comfortable there in the first half. What do you guys have to do in the second half?
Well, we got to execute. It was, you know, we can call every kind of fancy route, and you can blame all this, but we just did not execute. We didn't execute on defense. We didn't adjust to their unbalance. We didn't, you know, we worked on that one pass play all week long where they ran the drag. We didn't get it, and you know, we didn't get the snap. I mean, if it went wrong in the first half, it did. So you know, that's an awfully good football team. We just got to get pride back and execute. Can't worry about anything but just execute. Take it one step at a time, and don't count us out yet.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half. They're an experienced team. They'll bounce back. Lee, back up to you.
All right, Aaron, thanks a lot. Sorry for the bad call there on this part, and that's that's got to be a tough thing to do, is go into the locker room at halftime and tell your guys, and you mentioned that before halftime, hey, and this isn't a team necessarily that's used to being down. I mean, they lost 1 game all season to Maroa Forsyth,
who has played in the state championship game in the second ball game.
Right. So I mean, it's a little bit of a change of direction, a little bit of change of gears for Tuscola to have to come back.
Well, they need to just settle down. They need to settle down and do the things that they've done well all year long, and that's throw the ball and run the ball. And they haven't done either one of those very efficiently. And you can say all you want to say about the score. It's more or less that they've shot themselves in the foot by the lack of execution, even with the simplest things such as the snap. He has not had one good snap waist high, and that's what you need to do in the spread. You have to get the ball between your waist and your chin. You can't drop your head down or raise it up to look, because then that takes your eyes off the secondary and the coverages, throws out all the timing, all the fakes with the running backs.
This is kind of a conference call this weekend, and we talk about Maroa Forsyth playing for the 2A state championship. Tuscola and Maroa Forsyth, both in the Okaw Valley Blue Conference. We're going to see that in a couple of more games this weekend as well. A couple more championships being contested. You look at 4A, the Central States 8 being represented by Rochester. That conference also represented in 5A by Chatham-Glenwood. And then you've got the Suburban Christian Conference Blue. Montini and Marmion are both playing for state championships. So we got three different conferences rather, being represented by 2 teams this weekend. That's unusual.
It's very unusual. It also gives you an insight into the competition in those particular conferences.
Yeah.
They play good football in all of them, and they're not cakewalks. So as I mentioned earlier, the 2 teams that are here, there's never an underdog in the state championship game. They've earned the right to be here, and they're both good football teams, and it's up in the air as who plays well on any given day, and today is the given day.
Tuscola will receive the opening kickoff here in the second half, trailing 25-7. It's a quick strike offense. They're not by any means out of this game, but they need to get a good start here to the third quarter, and having a little trouble there on the tee is Adam Wright, the kicker for Lena Winslow. A little bit of wind out there today, kind of a chilly day, but good football weather here in Champaign-Urbana.
He's going to have somebody hold that ball for him. Well, what's going to be crucial, 2 things right off the get-go. Field position in this kickoff, where are they going to start from, and then the first drive. What can they do with the first drive? It's going to be so much psychological for Tuscola right now in their very first possession. Well, it should be deep. Oh, he dropped the ball.
Jimmy Knight had one go off his hand at the end of the half and has trouble with that one, and he'll be brought down and bent backwards at the 16-yard line. Oh boy, and I thought Coach Reinhardt said it best. It's kind of the old anything that can go wrong did go wrong in the first half for Tuscola.
Well, they're not happy with this, because when he first caught that ball, they would have had a nice run back, at least almost to midfield. But he just loses sight. He's looking up to see where he wants to go and doesn't catch the football, and now he has to find it. You can see a good job of getting to the ball there by the special teams.
Judd Winke to take the snap for Tuscola. He's got 3 receivers to his left side. That's John Turner to his left. Winke back to throw, has a man at the 20 and dropped. Another drop pass. Cody Shelmadine couldn't hold on to that one. It was just, I'm guessing it's probably a tough day to catch. If it's a tough day to kick the ball, it's a tough day to catch it too.
Well,
maybe?
That's a high throw right there. That's a complete hands catch, and the ball is thrown within 8 yards, which means he really drilled it. The ball is like a rock coming at him. But the other part of that is that psychologically is not good for Winke when he is not having the ball caught when he's throwing it. That's going to affect him also.
Tuscola going into the wind here in the third quarter. Handoff is to Turner. He's met right at the line of scrimmage. Good job that time by the Lena Winslow defensive line. We talked about their offensive line a lot. Their defensive line doing a nice job there. Seth Dasher in on the tackle. Tommy Rochadle in there too.
Well, Tommy Rochadle goes both ways as well as Dasher, so they're 2-way players, and obviously they're not being affected because the conditioning by those 2 athletes has to be outstanding.
Good snap that time by Leonard Winke's throw out to the 30, complete, and first down yardage this time for Tuscola. Big catch there by Yoakum, and that's a good confidence builder maybe for Tuscola. Pick up a 15.
Well, 2 things happened there. Number 1, a good job of the offensive line of forcing him outside, so he had a nice throwing lane inside and good vision. And then it was an excellent route by the receiver to settle down in between the 2 linebackers. So that was their best throw and catch of the game thus far.
First and 10 from the 32. Winke will try again. That one's thrown behind the intended receiver, Cody Shelmadine. He's had a little bit of like some tough throws there.
Going to the outside.
Yeah.
He's had better throws inside the numbers. What we mean by that is in the middle of the field.
Right.
He's had a tougher throw going to the outside. The wind is an effect because it's kind of a crosswind, so it does have an effect on the throws going out.
Just 2 of 12, but one of those completions was for the touchdown to Shelmadine for the only Tuscola touchdown.
86B!
Well, the secondary makes no adjustments for Lena Winslow here when the offense makes adjustments.
Winky with time, looking deep for Shelmadine. Right there on the coverage is number 34, Tevin Sellers, the sophomore, and he had another big hit in the first half. He has a touchdown run. He also got burned by Shelmadine on the touchdown, but a nice play here. Good coverage.
Well, he throws in the double coverage over and under. 17 is under, 34 is over, and he does a nice job. Initially, he was wide open, but then he did a nice job of squeezing on the ball. Good defensive effort.
3rd and 10. Winky had a man down the middle, and now he finds one out at the numbers.
Get a first down.
Meyer is the recipient. Philip Meyer, his first catch. 5'10" junior, pickup of 11. He's the guy that filled in at quarterback last year when Winky went down with a shoulder injury and
being
played
an
quarterback all the way to the state title.
Right, and being an outstanding athlete, they want to get him on the field, so they move him to wide out. Now that was a great route that he ran. He settled right in between the corner and the inside linebacker who was dropping in the zone. Just a great job of finding the open spot.
Yoakum was open on that play too. Here's Turner. He spins away from a tackler and is down into Lena Winslow territory, brought down at the 43-yard line. It's a pickup of 14.
Well, that was a combination of just some poor tackling by Lena Winslow, which hasn't occurred in the first half, but it certainly occurred there. We'll just see how many people he bounces off of. Just some arm tackling, and they're trying to rip the football. That's just a poor job of tackling right here.
Got away from Dasher and gets it into Lena Winslow territory at the 44-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. Winky, 3 receivers left, 2 right.
Well, it's man coverage here. Great job right there.
Hit at the line of scrimmage. Cody Hooper, the senior linebacker, gets a hand on that one and knocks it out of the air.
Well, it was man coverage everywhere all over the field, and he was the lone man that was responsible for the quarterback, so he just came on a stunt. You'll see him coming right here. He's just coming. He can see the direction he's throwing, and that's what you teach the kids. If he turns and throws in your direction, you get an arm up, and that throws off the vision as well as the mechanics of the throw. Excellent job there of defense. 2 very well-coached football teams.
2nd and 10 for Winky. Into the wind. Looking for a man, and looks like Meyer got kind of tangled up there as he made his break. Good defense there for Lena Winslow. Tevin Sellers in there again, number 34. We've said his name a lot today.
Well, Myers, I think, there just made it a little too quick a move. If he would have slowed down and settled in the zone, he would have been wide open. But he actually overran the area and ran into a second zone where the linebacker was sitting waiting for him.
3rd and 10.
Visualize all those defensive backs right there and look at those holes in between. Those are the zones we're talking about.
Winky intended for Meyer, overthrown. It's 4th down. Well, a little bit of progress for Tuscola, a little better, but nothing to show for it.
Well, nothing to show for it, but they did see that they could throw the ball. But the other part of it was they were able to, on Lena Winslow's part, they bent a little bit, but they didn't break.
Maybe a little edge here in the field position game and see if they can maybe try and pin Lena Winslow, but they haven't proven that they can stop that offense. It's a high kick by Yoakum.
Not very good.
And bounces out of bounds about the 24-yard line. They'll mark it just inside the 25-yard line, where Lena Winslow will take over after a 19-yard punt into the wind.
That ball has got to be punted inside the 15 to be of any value at all for Tuscola as far as field position, because right now, even if Lena Winslow doesn't get anything on their first drive, they're still going to punt the ball back, and the field position will be just an exchange. Here is not what you want to do. They've got the ball in good field position for them.
Here's the give to Trey Griffin. He'll get a couple of yards. Griffin now right at 80 yards for the ball game.
That's pretty substantial when you have one back over 100 and the other one nearing in on that. That tells you something about that first half, which we saw with the stats as far as the clock, time of possession, and first downs.
Griffin and Haas both with very close rushing numbers coming in. 1,300 yards for Griffin, 1,400 for Haas. 2nd and 8. Here's the pitch to Haas. He gets through a couple of tacklers and out to the 39-yard line. A pickup of 12 and a first down for the Lena Winslow Panthers.
That's just, I hate to be negative, that's just poor tackling him getting out on the perimeter, because it's just a power sweep. He's got all the backs in front of him. They're just getting outside. You can see a nice job by the lineman staying on people, but poor tackling at the point of attack for him to pick up that first down. That should have been about a 2 or 3 yard gain at most.
Now Rick Aaron says when he gets to the second level, nobody's going to catch him, and Haas has done a nice job here today at taking advantage of those blocks. Griffin up the middle.
Oh, angles.
Is he going to get there?
Oh,
He
good
turns
move
right
at the end.
He turns right at about the 15-yard line and takes it in from 61 yards
Boy,
out.
he was checking his mirrors and his blind spot on that move, because I thought he was going to get run down. He just made that cut in the opposite direction. Wow, what a neat run.
So,
I really thought he was going to get tackled on the 10-yard line.
he is a big guy, but made a nice little move there, changed direction just enough. I don't know where it was. It was about the 15, I want to say, or maybe the 10, and avoided those would-be tacklers and gives Lena Winslow a 31-7 lead pending the extra point by Adam Wright.
Well, now they'll go for 2.
And just about everybody from Tuscola came along across the line early there.
Ball's going to be put half the distance, so it's going to be down. I would think they'd go for 2. But what do I know?
On the defense. Half the distance to the goal.
Well, they lead at 31-7.
Well, they missed that first extra point, but apparently wants to give them some practice here.
Adam Wright's a freshman.
Wow, that snap. It's good.
It's up and good, and it's a 32-7 Lena Winslow lead. They're loving it on the sidelines for Lena Winslow. The Panthers up by 25. Welcome back to Champaign, and Judd Winkie has his work cut out for him. Tuscola trailing 32-7 here in the third quarter, Jack, and this has really been an impressive display by Lena Winslow offense. Their offensive line, their defense holding Tuscola to 7 points thus far. It's been a pretty dominant performance by the Panthers to this point.
Very much so, and I feel as if Tuscola is still in shock. They really are. I don't think that we've seen the best of them yet. That we still have a lot of time here, and with their offense, they certainly can get back into this ball game, but they have to psychologically get over the point of being manhandled thus far. And you know, when you've been in the state championship game and win it the year before, and you come into it now, and all of a sudden you're on your heels and you're reeling. We'll see what they're made of right here in these next couple of drives.
Get a little switching around on the kickoff team. That's Jared Hall, the senior, who had moved to this side after Jimmy Knight had a little trouble. So no relation, Jared Hall, and he takes it out to the 20. So where are they marking it? The 24-yard line. That's where Tuscola will take over. A little bit better drive last time, but nothing to show for it point-wise, and they weren't able to pin Lena Winslow deep either.
Well, each drive has gotten a little better for them, and so I think they might be at the point now where they're getting more comfortable with where they want to go with the football in regard to the areas and maybe even the defenders that they're looking at.
Winkie back to throw. Another long, high throw. Those throws out to the numbers, he's having difficulty.
And let me add the word dangerous.
Yes.
When you're throwing from one hash across the other numbers at a wide side of the field, and that's single coverage, and he was right on him. That's 6 points there.
This is a guy that threw for 417 yards in the win over A&M, 272 of those in the second half. This is an explosive offense, and they've been taken out of their game here today. Give Lena Winslow's defense credit. 2nd and 10. And off to Turner, met at the line of scrimmage. Tommy Rochadle grabs him and hammers him back. Tommy Rochadle The 6', 205-pound senior loses his hat, but makes a heck of a tackle there.
Well, what's interesting, they try to run the draw to offset the throwing game, and they go nowhere with it. A nice job up front by the defensive line. Both sides of the ball, the line play has been outstanding for Lena Winslow. Their offensive line and their defensive line have been the keys to this game.
3rd and 14. Winky looking pressure. Held it onto it too long. O'Shea Smith, the sophomore, with the sack. He had a sack in the win against East Dubuque, and he comes up with another one here.
But the guy that actually forced that sack, was Tommy Rochadil, because they made a stun, a loop. One went under and one went over the top, and he took away the middle throwing lane and forced him right into O'Shea Smith, who made the sack. That's not a good sign right there.
Winky had a little trouble with that left arm, left hand maybe. And now it's a Lena Winslow. Check that, a Tuscola punt. It's a low one. And it bounces and they won't go anywhere near it. Lena Winslow takes over inside Tuscola territory after a 32-yard punt. Here's another look at the sack.
You can see right here where he's forced back by number 75. He's forced into number 75, O'Shea Smith, the 280-pounder who makes the sack, and he's only a sophomore. Look at the size of him.
Yeah.
And he's a sophomore, 6 foot, 280-pounder. But the guy that really forced that was Tommy Rochadil, the other tackle that looped in and forced him to shuffle outside.
Lena Winslow puts the ball on the ground, but Edler gets back to it in time.
That might be their first mistake offensively.
Well, and we talk about what a good job he does with the exchanges. That's the first miscue by Lena Winslow offensively, really. You look at Rick Aaron, the head coach of Lena Winslow. Didn't like this one very much.
Well, it was going to be a counter tray. You could see the guard and tackle pulling, and what happened is the quarterback was stepped on by the pulling guard. And so he was on his heels as he was going back to do the handoff. So now I guess he can blame it on the offensive linemen and their big feet.
2nd and 16. And a whistle before they can get going. Or actually Trey Griffin on the carry. Leonard with the stop.
Just a straight dive there, nothing fancy. That's amazing, those scoring drives. 31 plays in the clock, time of possession.
3rd and 14. It's Haas out at midfield and into Tuscola territory, brought down about the 48. It'll be a long way to go, and Lena Winslow will, you would think, be forced to punt.
Well, this is the kind of stops that Tuscola needs to make if they have any chance of getting in the ball game. They've got to go force Lena Winslow to go 3 and out so they can get possession, get back in this ball game. As we mentioned earlier in the first quarter, they scored on a 27-second drive. It was 2 plays and a touchdown. So if they're capable of doing that once, they're capable of doing it several times.
Shelmadine and Yoakum were back to receive. Kick by Haas is out of bounds at the 15-yard line. So it'll be another long field. Been a long field for Tuscola no matter where they start from.
So far today, thus far it has been, but that was an excellent kick. Taking advantage of the wind.
Winky got hit pretty hard on that sack. He's back out there. Of course, his brother John was the quarterback, led them to the state championship in '06. He's now a redshirt sophomore quarterback at Iowa.
Ah, the Hawkeyes of Iowa.
They look like the Hawkeyes down there from up top.
They do. They're not playing like the Hawkeyes, but.
Oh, there's that long throw out to the side, and the numbers, and it's picked off by Haas with the interception. And you talked about how dangerous those throws were, and that is Haas with the pick. Quinn Haas, what a day. A couple of touchdown runs and now an interception.
Well, they made that throw 2 or 3 times earlier, that long throw from the hash, and that is trouble waiting to happen, and he did it again here, and he had read that all the way and broke right underneath it. Quinn Haas, he's having one heck of a day, and he just picks that off, and he's lucky that they didn't take it right in there. He's got it again.
Yep, and he's got room if he can get past that last tackler, and he does. Boy, He got by one tackler and takes it in for the touchdown. Another touchdown for Quinn Haas, his third touchdown run of the day. He had Pat Yoakum to beat, had another man that he met at the goal line and just carried him across with him.
Well, it's amazing. He makes the interception, and then they reward him with the touchdown. A nice run, but good blocking up front. But a great effort by Haas. He's really had a stellar day. Quite a performance for a junior, Quinn Haas.
Well, we mentioned that he's been to the state track meet and several events, and he's running his own track meet out there today. The kick is up and good by the freshman Adam Wright. It's 39-7. Lena Winslow in complete control here of our 1A state championship game. The 2010 IHSA football championships brought to you by Country Financial. Well, the drums aren't the only thing taking a beating here today from Lena Winslow. 39-7, the Panthers lead the defending state champs. Quinn Haas touchdown runs of 67 yards, 4 yards, and then 10 yards. And it's turning into a long day for Judd Winkie, the senior quarterback for Tuscola.
Well, whatever could go wrong has gone wrong for Tuscola, and everything that could go right has done that for Lena Winslow. It's just been a comparison of two rights and wrongs thus far as a football game's being played. One can't do anything wrong, and the other one can't do anything right.
It's so hard to see, no matter what sport it is, a team that has had such an outstanding season get to the state championship game, no matter what sport it's in, and then struggle like this.
Yes,
because you know they've had such an outstanding year to get here.
Right. You know, and it's one of those games where you want them to play as well as they can play and let the cards fall where they may, but they're not playing as well as they have all year. There's no doubt about it. Now, obviously, give credit to Lena Winslow. They have a lot to do with that.
Absolutely.
But there's been some errors, some mistakes, some drop balls, some things like that have led to this score, but it's just not the same team down here right now.
Adam Wright, the kick again. It's Hall with the run back, and he spins out to about the 28-yard line. And it's, I mean, we talked about the contrasting and who would impose their will, and this is a check mark for old-fashioned smash mouth, run it down your throat football.
It really is, and only in high school do you find these kind of differences. You don't find them that dramatically in college, and certainly not on the Sunday level, but only in high school football, which I think is the best football played in America, and that's my personal opinion. High school, there's nothing like high school football. It's just incredible to watch kids 16 through 18 years old and how much the game has advanced over the years at the high school level.
Turner, a nice run, and the other thing you're going to see is Tuscola down by 32 points now, and still going at it like they did at the beginning of the game.
Right. Well, that's high school football. You won't find that in the professional level, and in college level, oftentimes they look at the scoreboard too. But in high school, they just keep on playing.
Turner, a nice run that time. Winkie trying to get something going. They're going to stay on the ground here. Nice lane for Turner. Boy, he had all kinds of room to run that time. And a big shout out to the Tuscola offensive line. Colby Glow and Chase Little, Jack Leonard, Trace Quinn, Robert Lopez opening up a pretty big lane there, Coach.
Well, the other part of what's opening up a big lane is that scoreboard, because Lena Winslow is looking at the score, so they're playing looser, thinking they're going to have to throw the ball, and that's opening up the lanes inside for the running game.
Good play calling there after a pickup to 15. They are inside Lena Winslow territory. It's Turner again. He's got a little room outside, met and hit pretty hard there at the 43-yard line. That's Colin Hare, 5'9" senior, spelled H-E-E-R, pronounced Hare. It's a pretty good stick right out there at the sideline, Coach.
Well, what's interesting here is the running game now is going to hopefully lead to the success of the passing game. I think that's the direction in which he's going now, that they're going to try and squeeze down to cut off the run and hoping that the passing game will open up.
2nd and 6. Winkie going for a bunch. He's got a man, and The intended receiver was Pat Yoakum, broken up there by a couple of defenders. Adam Murhane was back there for Lena Winslow.
The third defender there was the wind. That just really held the football up. It was a good break. It was actually an excellent route. He threw the ball well, but the ball just hung up there. You can see right here, he's squeezing right in here. He's got him beat, but the ball's just held up by the wind. So it was a good throw and a good route, and that third defender, the wind today, helped on that one.
3rd and 6 for Tuscola. Winky with time. And another drop. And was it picked? No. Murhane came up with it, but it hit the ground. Yoakum was the intended receiver, and that'll bring up 4th down for Tuscola. And doesn't look like Winky's going anywhere.
Well, at this stage of the game, they can't afford to give the ball back. And his self-confidence, Winky's self-confidence, got to be drained a little bit here when he puts a ball on the money and it's dropped. And that's happened probably 6 to 7 times today. But he's a big-time quarterback, 6'3", 235 pounds. He's being looked at by MAC conference schools. He's got a good, strong arm. He's going to get a good mark here and pick up a first down.
A catch by Pat Yoakum. He came back for the ball and made the nice catch in coverage and gets a first down for Tuscola.
That's a heck of a catch because he actually was thrown on his back shoulder and he had to reach back when he was going in the other direction to make that catch, and that tells you what kind of an athlete he is. Big shot of him right there.
1st and 10 at the 36. Yoakum, who caught that ball, caught 6 passes for 252 yards in their win over Central A&M in the playoffs. And nothing doing that time. Good job by Lena Winslow's defensive line, stopping John Turner at the line of scrimmage or behind, maybe.
Big sophomore, number 75, O'Shea Smith, a 280-pounder. The other tackle, Tommy Rochadell, 205 pounds, doing a nice job of staying home inside. They can't get caught up in the passing game. They have to those front 4 guys are responsible for certain gaps and certain lanes, and they have to be very well disciplined, especially against an offense like this.
2nd and 11. Shelmadine's the man in motion. Looking for a man on the sideline, Philip Meyer, and just thrown out of bounds. He was open, but the throw was out of bounds. And it'll be 3rd down and 11.
Good job by Tuscola's offensive line of containing the defensive pass rush of the front 4, allowed him to get out on the perimeter. And they need to do that once in a while, because when he stays in the pocket, they're getting pressure, and that keeps everything the way it should be. Once you get a quarterback on the perimeter and rolling out, that changes the function of the defense, and if they're not staying in their lanes and sliding with the quarterback, creates all kinds of passing lanes.
The 9th play of the drive will come after a timeout for Tuscola. 2:21 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Let's take a look at the road to state for Lena Winslow. Or at least the road to the lead. There is Sellers with the touchdown run, the sophomore, and then it's a lot of Quinn Haas today, Coach. This one 67, check that, 67 yards for Quinn Haas. One of 3 touchdown runs on the day for Quinn Haas. They scored on 3 of their first 5 drives. That is Dasher. That's a great name for a running back, Dasher. And Haas just 3 touchdown runs, an interception for Haas and Lena Winslow. There you take a look at the 6 scoring drives, the 32 plays, time of possession. They possess the ball. That's another unstated defender is keeping the ball away from Tuscola.
There's no doubt about it. And that part, I'm sure that was certainly part of the game plan. With a team that runs that kind of an offense, it always is.
Winky looking downfield, another high throw. This one over the head and through the hands of Philip Meyer. He was really extended as fully as he could to get that one, unable to come down with it.
Well, what's interesting too is the field condition. Most of these teams, this could be this cold and this windy, but it also could be a little muddier on some of the fields they've played on in the past. This is not the case here. The turf makes it great field footing for everybody, and that's a plus for a passing team. And thus far, they haven't taken advantage of that.
4th and 11. Winky into double, maybe triple coverage. Incomplete. Shelmadine, the homecoming king, was his intended receiver.
You know how baseball teams have their ace pitchers. They count on them in the big games and this and that, and they occasionally have an off day. That's what Judd is having today. He is just off a little in there with the timing on these throws. He's thrown to the right guy, but his timing is off as far as getting the ball and delivery. And obviously he's their ace, and he's just having an off day right now.
Lena Winslow will take over, and they'll be eating up a little clock here.
A little?
Okay.
A little is a lot with them.
It's Trey Griffin with another carry. You know, not only did he win a state championship in wrestling last year, he also wrestled all over the country during the summer. That might have bit him a little bit as far as injuries go. I took it from Coach Aaron that maybe he was a little banged up coming into the season from wrestling injuries.
Well, that very well could be. You know, it's amazing to watch wrestlers at practice, and then in the meets, it's just, you know, I thought it was tough at home being with 5 brothers. But these wrestlers nowadays, they travel all over the country, and the conditioning that they go through is amazing.
Well, they are a different breed, and you know, we saw that actually a few years back when Dakota made it to the state championship and won a state championship game. They had several state champion wrestlers on their squad, and that's just a different level of toughness. I mean, football players are tough enough, but when you add that wrestling factor, oh my goodness. Whew.
That's quite a combination. And you always like those wrestlers inside, and you like your basketball players out on the perimeter, the wide receivers and those type of athletes.
Lena Winslow, a commanding 32-point lead. This is Haas, met at midfield and brought down there. Shelmadine in on the tackle.
There's no quit in Tuscola. That's what I love about high school football. Well, these kids just keep playing.
That's good coaching and a good program. I mean, this is the 4th state championship appearance for Tuscola in the last 5 seasons, and it looks like 2 state championships and 2 second-place trophies, and that's nothing to say.
Right. That in itself is amazing to be able to get down here, you know, that often. And I mean, there's certain programs in our state that have been down here an awful lot of times, but for the most part, it's very, very unique. And here's a big one coming here.
Haas a lot of room to run.
He's not a hurdler too, is he?
Well, they just told me several events in track he could be a hurdler, and he had a big lineman, Andy Lake, out there leading the way. He's the only returning starter on this offensive line, so that tells you how far this offensive line has come.
Well, take a look at Andy Lake right here, getting out in front of him. Number 50. He's 230 pounds, folks. Now that's quite an athlete right there. 6'2", 230, getting out there and then getting on a little DB and pancaking him. That right there is a good shot of number 50, Andy Lake. And really, the back ought to be carrying him off on his shoulders if he could lift them.
Haas now 185 yards rushing in this dominant performance by the Lena Winslow run game. 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney back with you at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Hope you had a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving, and we are through 3 quarters here in our 1A state championship game. Lena Winslow, boy, they have just really done a number here on Tuscola today and really shown that power of the old power football. Trey Griffin with another rush. He's over 150 yards rushing. Quinn Haas 185 yards rushing. It's a style of football that is really played well here today. Maroa Forsyth taking on Central Catholic from Newman, Sterling Newman, and we're going to see more of that style of football from Sterling Newman here in our 2A game, Jack.
Well, we're going to have basically the same kind of game because Maroa Forsyth runs a multiple spread, and Newman Central Catholic runs the wishbone. So Sterling Newman is going to have a lot of we're going to have a lot of similarities in the next ball game that we have today. Hopefully just not in the score.
Here's Dasher inside the 5 and wrestled out of bounds there at about the 4-yard line. You know Dasher, dancer, you know, that kind of thing.
Very good.
We're in that season already. I mean, The Christmas, the Christmas stuff went up in the stores before.
But after
Halloween
that comment,
was
I
over.
just scratched you off my list.
Oh, darn.
Coming right at you, right into your living room, low on the shoulder. Good hard running.
It's a great name for a running back, too. Dasher.
It is.
Yeah. As opposed to Jack, who's dashing.
Well, I'll have my check direct deposited to you.
Colin Hare with the run. The senior, as Coach Aaron goes a little bit deeper into the substitutes here.
But no let up. They just keep coming at you. Keep coming at you, giving people experience. That offensive line keeps pounding. Every play is a new play. It doesn't change. They don't look up at the scoreboard.
And it's Hare into the end zone for the touchdown.
This is really quite an exhibition of football.
It's amazing. We're 2 points away from a running clock.
A total dominance. And nobody would have ever suspected going into this ball game that it could have possibly been like this.
Spreading the wealth a little bit, Rick Aaron, the 85 graduate of Stockton High School, played for John O'Boyle there. John O'Boyle, legendary name. Here's Haas into the end zone. The 2-point conversion is good, and the running clock will start now. 47-7. Lena Winslow. As impressive as Lena Winslow's run to the state championship game has been, I don't think anybody would have predicted this. 47-7, the Lena Winslow lead with 10:17 to go here in our fourth quarter. 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. A lot for that Panther to be smiling about here. Lena Winslow, the 47-7 lead over Tuscola. Colin Hare adding to the point total with a 1-yard touchdown run, 3:56 on that 63-yard 8-play drive for Lena Winslow, and it has been a pretty dominant performance here today.
It really has been, and the saddest part of it is that both teams are certainly state championship caliber. Only one is going to walk away with that trophy, but it's just disappointing that one team plays poorly in the championship game. And, they forget about what a great season they've had up to this point.
I'm not sure if Adam Wright was trying for the onside kick or not, but that's what it became, and Lena Winslow has recovered. Wow.
Well, the only plus to this is that there's going to be a lot of young men that get an opportunity to play in the state championship game on both teams.
Right.
And that's not all that bad. I mean, it's very unfortunate for Tuscola to have an outcome like this, but on the plus side, gives an opportunity for a lot of players to play on both sides of the field. And that's what high school football is all about, the opportunity to play. And you'll just take a look at it. And the way he kicked that, I don't think that was intended to be that way. I think it was supposed to be a low liner. And as luck would have it, things have been going well for him all day, and so did that.
Yeah, you wouldn't think an onside kick would be in order there.
No. He just wanted to skim it through there. And now it's the organization of getting people in the ball game at certain positions without having penalties for wrong substitutions, and kind of an interesting stat right there.
Second verse, same as the first for Lena Winslow. They were 3 for their first 5 in scoring drives in the first half, and 3 for 4 here in the second. And we talked to, this was going to be the second state championship for the Aaron family. We talked about Coach Aaron playing for John O'Boyle at Stockton. Rick's brother Tony played on the '91 state championship team at Stockton, and that's another one of those northwestern Illinois teams that just pounds the ball at you.
Well, we got a whole new group in here now,
and we'll try and get their names to you and
there'll be nothing
give them
fancy.
A little shot out here. Jordan Eilders with the carry there.
Jordan Eilders, the ball carrier. Back number 30, Josh Rooker.
Eilders is a 5'7" sophomore.
A lot of excitement down there for Lena Winslow with all those fresh young men in there for the first time in the state championship game.
Austin Mankoski, another sophomore with the carry. There are two number 19s. So I'm not sure if that's Dylan Gom or Sean Corey at quarterback.
Well, in either case, they both had their name mentioned.
So, yes. Guess maybe it's Dylan Gom. He's a junior. Corey, the freshman.
And you can again see coaches not rushing to get the plays in, just taking their time, getting the young men on the field, but not trying to embarrass anybody here with the score, but just getting kids out on the field so they can say they played in the state championship game.
Lena Winslow with the ball and the huge lead, and this is Tevin Sellers, who had a touchdown run earlier with the carry there. And we talk about Coach Aaron said the good thing about 1A is we know if we get out of our area, we got a pretty good chance. And you look at the teams that come out of that area, and we're going to see a lot of them here, and it's in different classes, but we see Sterling Newman coming up next. Stillman Valley is here, it seems like every year. They're here in 3A. Boylan is from the Rockford area, of course, Rockford. So that northwest corner, and we see that style of play a lot. Just the smash mouth, old style football out of northwestern Illinois, and it leads to a lot of trips to Champaign, a lot of state trophies.
Well, it does, because you don't always have the greatest skill kids, but you always have good linemen and tough kids at all positions, and that's kind of the brand of football that they like to play, because that's conducive to that type of young man.
And I asked Coach Aaron about that. He said, well, it's the opposite kind of game of Central and Southern Illinois. They're more up with the times. We're more of the old-fashioned smash mouth football.
Well, I think what he means by that, obviously, is the spread formation that more people have gone into. And right here would be a perfect example of that, where he could say, I guess our way is the best way. And
in this
today
example,
it seemed to be the case.
In our case study, this will be example 1A. And now it's Tuscola with the ball and headed the other direction. Josh Brookins, junior, with the carry there. Lena Winslow's rush defense has only allowed 30 yards now. 30 yards, a state record 49 yards by Sterling Newman for 1A. And Sterling Newman is up next in 2A. Mike Poposi's squad playing for another state championship.
And the only team that beat Tuscola this year is playing for the 2A state championship.
Maroa Forsyth. Longest run of the day. That's John Turner, who transferred to Tuscola from Villa Grove. He battled a shoulder injury here in the postseason. A nice chunk of yards there for him.
Well, there's a lot of fresh faces on that defense down there for Lena Winslow.
6 minutes to go. It's Josh Brookins with another carry for Tuscola.
The other thing to remember with these two teams at the smaller schools, 1A, there's not a lot of substitutions to make. I mean, these rosters, it's not as if they have to rent out the entire bus system in the community. Most of them are in the 30s, the roster size.
Winky takes the snap and has Shelmadine at the 20-yard line, where he's met by a host of Lena Winslow tacklers.
That's one of the better throws he's made today. Just a quick cross route. Put it right on the money.
We talk about that clash of styles. Eastland Pearl City is a team in Lena Winslow's area conference that has run this spread. They've seen it before. It was not really any shock to the system for them today to see this. Turner another carry inside the 20. We'll see more, as we mentioned, of this style of football when Newman of Sterling plays for the 2A championship. And they're playing a team from the Okaw Valley Blue and Maroa Forsyth, a similar style to Tuscola. So our study, our scientific study, if you will continue, Professor, here in 2A.
Well, and the interesting part of that is even going into tomorrow, Saturday, there's going to be a lot of these contrasts of formations and offenses and that type of thing. The defenses are relatively the same. Good throw, good catch.
Winky down the middle, and a touchdown to Cody Shelmadine for the touchdown.
Excellent route, very good throw.
The homecoming king with his second touchdown catch of the day here. Boy, Winky just looks so much more poised and sure of himself there, and just had his feet under him in a solid throw and looked like the kind of quarterback we've seen him be all year and last year in the state championship.
That play is what their offense has really been all season long, and unfortunately it wasn't there today. The timing wasn't there or anything else, but it's been like that all season long, that particular play.
You see a little pride there. We don't want that running clock. They got that shut down. 47-14 back after this. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. And we are back at Memorial Stadium, 47-14. The 7 rushing touchdowns for Lena Winslow, we are told, is a 1A state record, and there's the hardware. Both teams taking home a big trophy here today, and you know, you can't let today's game tarnish the season that Tuscola had as they kicked the ball away here with 4:16 to go in the ball game. Austin Martin, or check that. Seth Dasher with the return for Lena Winslow.
Well, for any teams that get to the state championship game, is such an amazing accomplishment for any sport. But in football, especially in the state of Illinois, as well as the football is played in this state, it's an amazing feather in the cap of each program that is able to do it. Because football doesn't get much better than it does in the state of Illinois.
Rick Reinhardt, 31-8 in his 3rd season at Tuscola. Coached at Bethalto Civic Memorial, Alton Marquette, before he came back home to take over the Tuscola program. And they are just, you know, they're a fixture in the state football title game here. 4th appearance in the last 5 years, and he said before to cherish every moment. I'm sure there's some moments here today they'd like to forget, but you have to look at the big picture of the overall experience of actually playing in the state championship and try and take that positive home with you.
Well, you know, in the first game of the year, I'm sure last winter in the weight room, in the summer in their 7-on-7 passing, all the different things that they've done leading up to this, they all hoped that this would be the culmination, would be this day, playing in this game. Obviously, the end result is not what they were looking forward to, but they were certainly looking forward to getting into this game and then playing as well as they could ever play. This memory can never be taken away, being in the state championship game.
Oh, and a big hit there coming up for the tackle. Zach Diaz with the ball, and TJ Onstadt with the big tackle.
Good mask right on the numbers. That's exactly the way you're supposed to tackle. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to do that for the most part. Not so much inside, but their tackling on the perimeter has led to a lot of the problems that they had. There was just some poor tackling out on the perimeter, which has led to some big touchdown runs by Lena Winslow.
TJ Onstadt, one of the guys that's really done a great job for Coach Reinhardt's defense. He was a sophomore last year, unbelievable, got bigger and stronger. He'll be back for a senior year next year for Rick Reinhardt's team.
Coaches have done a great job with these 2 teams. There's no doubt about it. All you got to do is just watch what they do and how they execute to realize what an outstanding job of coaching both of the staffs have done.
Jordan Eilders with a carry there as the clock continues to wind down for Rick Aaron. 14th season, 108-45 at Lena Winslow. He served several years as an assistant coach there. And will bring home a state championship trophy back to Lena Winslow. These 2 towns consolidated way back in the 50s before it was fashionable to consolidate, Coach said. I thought that was an interesting take on it. With a minute to go here in our 1A state championship game. Don't go away now. 2A state championship football coming up next. Mike Poposi and Sterling Newman taking on Maroa Forsyth. Josh Jostis has done a great job with that program as well, and making their third state final appearance in the last 5 years. There's a shank. That looks like my 7-iron. Sorry, I'm stealing your material.
That's quite all right. You've obviously seen my game.
You're the only guy that would play on a day like today, I tell you. Maroa Forsyth and Sterling Newman up next here on the IHSA TV network. A full day of high school football for you, and we will be back again tomorrow to contest 4 more state championship games. And a bad handoff there, and Tuscola somehow comes back with it, and big number 62 Alex Ransom,
That's it.
picks it up, and that is the end of this ball game. Rick Aaron, congratulations.
Oh, mercy.
Oh, nothing better than that shower on a 25-degree day. A state championship for Lena Winslow. Tough day for Rick Reinhardt, but a great season for Tuscola. They will take home a second-place state trophy after a 12-2 run. Rick Aaron and Lena Winslow in their first state title appearance. 13-1 state champions of Class 1A for the 2010 season here in the state of Illinois. That's it, a complete domination by Lena Winslow, and there's that abbreviation again, LeWin for Lena Winslow. And they are your 1A state champions. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. Lena Winslow, your winner here in 1A. And we are back on the IHSA TV network. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney, and an impressive display here in our 1A state championship. Lena Winslow, the 47-14 win over Tuscola, and Quinn Haas, Trey Griffin combining. Boy, I didn't get a look at the final stats, but I think it was over 300 yards between the two of them. And that offensive line for Lena Winslow just very dominant here today.
Well, that actually, when somebody said vote for an MVP, I wouldn't be voting for the backs. I'd be voting for the offensive line and actually the defensive line.
Right.
They did a great job the entire day in the pits. Never get enough credit, but today they got all the credit they deserve.
Well, really, the Lena Winslow defense, I thought they had some really good coverage. I mean, Winky was having to throw into double coverage a lot. I mean, they did a good job of shutting down receivers, too.
Well, they really did, but they didn't do a whole lot. That's what kind of I thought was very interesting. I'm sure that they had seen a lot of different schemes, Tuscola, through the entire year, but they were Lena Winslow was very basic today, but they did a real good, solid job with the linebackers dropping for underneath coverage, and the receivers just didn't get into those seams, and when they did, the balls were dropped.
All right, it's a very impressive run here today by Lena Winslow, and we talked about the contrasting styles, and you know, the old school folks are going to say, well, see, you know, all this new fancy stuff, that's all well and good, but it's still blocking, tackling. That's the core of this game.
Absolutely, and we saw that today, and we'll be seeing that all weekend long. The same thing. Who has a solid technique, who is well coached, and who plays sound fundamental football.
All right, it's a 47-14 win for Lena Winslow. We're going to see this same kind of matchup coming up in 2A. Sterling Newman, old school. Mike Poposi in his 31st year as head coach of Newman. He's not going to do anything new. I mean, he says that's just what we are. 4 or 5 yards a pop, and we're just going to try and overpower you against Maroa Forsyth. A little bit more forward thinking. Josh Jostis. At that program, we've seen them here before and done their state championships games. They were here in the state championship game a year ago. A lot of experience for that side as far as playing in a state championship game.
Well, obviously we'll see the similarities of offenses. I just hope we don't see the similarities in score. And I don't think we will. But again, you never know with high school football. That's what makes it the greatest sport around.
Tell me about getting ready now. getting ready for a state championship game. I mean, what are you telling your kids as you get ready? You know, you're still half hour or so away from kickoff.
Well, you just got to keep them calm down. You're talking more about what the expectations are. You don't want them to sit and dwell on things. You're just reviewing, nothing overly exciting, just kind of reviewing either on a chalkboard what they're going to see offensively, what they need to do defensively, just those kind of things that you normally go through on a weekly basis, the normal meetings you have prior to a game, and now it's just another game. Don't look at the scoreboard, don't worry anything, just play the game you've been coached to play.
It's a game of routines and trying to keep them the same as a state championship is at stake here coming up in 2A. And if you're Rick Reinhardt, you just have to tell your team, hey, great season. It just didn't happen for us today.
Exactly.
All right, the trophies to be handed out. Let's go to our PA announcer, Jeff Fritzen, and have those trophy presentations down on the field.
Mr. Connor and Mr. Klett will present a special medallion to the 3 administrators, and individual awards will be presented to Coach Reinhardt and his team captains.
Good year. Good season. Good luck. Thank you. Congratulations. You had a good year. Congratulations. Yeah, great year, huh?
Presentations.
There you take a look at the Tuscola guys,
the second place trophy will be
you can imagine what they're feeling down there.
Tuscola will finish the season with a final record of 12 wins and 2 losses.
A little down right now, but years from now, it'll be very exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Something to be very proud of. There aren't a lot of those handed out. They don't give those to just anybody.
No, they don't.
And it's back-to-back state championship games for Tuscola. That doesn't happen very often either, although it's happened twice for them in the last 5 seasons, and that is a program that it's amazing for me from the outside to watch the schools, the programs that have success year after year after year. The talent changes, but the programs keep going.
Right. That's solid coaching. Here come the state championship. Teams right up on the podium.
There's the Lena Winslow captains coming up there. Trey Griffin, number 40, you see there. Number 21, Colin Hare. Big number 65, Tom Rochade. Always heard his name a lot today. Rick Aaron. There he is, sporting the playoff beard.
Good job, Rick.
And a very wet sweatshirt. There's a little frost on the pumpkin this morning. I can't imagine that feels very good right now, but he's enjoying every second of it.
Trey Griffin right there. Tommy Rochadell.
Awesome job.
Colin Hare.
Represent Northwest Illinois.
Joe Edler, the unsung hero of that offense. Directing it, handling the ball on every play.
Lena Winslow, who finished the season
handing it off to those big horses who ran behind quite an offensive line this season. 13-1, your state champions, Lena Winslow. Their only loss was the opener to Dakota. They avenged that in the postseason, and they hoist the state championship trophy for Lena Winslow, the first state championship in any sport in their school. Congratulations, they're taking that out. They're just barely in Illinois. They're very close to the Wisconsin border, but that baby's staying in Illinois and headed north. Congratulations to Rick Aaron and everyone associated with the Lena Winslow football program. He's Jack McInerney. I'm Lee Hall. That's our 1A state championship. We're back after this. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial.
We are back with the newly crowned Class 1A state champion Lena Winslow Panthers and their head coach Rick Aaron. Coach, the first state title in any sport for this school. How special is it to be a part of that and bring that to these towns?
Incredible. I mean, we have our school is a sporting community, and it's been incredible for the 19 years I've been there, and for this to be the first team state championship. It's kind of mind-boggling because we've been so successful at everything over the years, and you know, these kids, I just can't say enough about this group of kids. They just got better and better as the year went on.
That ice water bath was pretty cold, but probably welcome right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I need to get back in the sun. No, it's getting a little cold, but I told them for years I don't want one till we get down here, and it finally paid off. They got me pretty good.
Coach, thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is your 1A state championship head coach Rick Aaron.